Hello there. What's going on, everybody? It's another car stream. We are going to just kind of do an impromptu stream because some pretty interesting news just dropped. And while normally I might be at home or in my garage or doing a live stream, at my computer or whatever, I am still working this week. And as such, sometimes I have to bring you breaking news from the car. So that's what I'm doing today. And you might disagree on how big this news is, but basically, Fantasy Flight Games just announced they are shutting down their forums, which is kind of interesting. Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for jumping in. It's actually a pretty nice day here in Florida. It's kind of warm today, but yeah, so FFG is shutting down their forums. Evan Johnson just kind of announced, I'm pretty sure that's who FFG Evan is. I put a link in the video description. And while their forums are shut down, this isn't happened immediately. They're going to be up for another month. So at the end of January, they're shutting them down. So probably a good time to get in the habits of using other methods for communication. And as a result, the good news is, I've got a Discord perfectly set up to kind of facilitate this absence of the FFG forums. Now, there's lots of Discord servers. I'm not like the only one or anything like that. But we've got a pretty good Discord set up with a good foundation for a lot of the different games that are already out there. There's going to be a link to that down in the video description. But the thing about the FFG forums is they had all these subsections for all of their different games. And if you wanted to go in there and talk about Armada and X-Wing and Legion, that was the place to do it. And I think the good news is my Discord's kind of the same thing. We've got different sections for all of the different games, and even board game sections as well. So, from a certain point of view, it's not a big deal. Discord's free. And so, and also there's voice chats in Discord. So Discord actually has additional functionality and allows us to game together and do things like that from time to time as well. Hopefully during the Christmas break, I'll be able to get a little squadrons in, maybe team up with a couple of you guys and do some of that. But I think this is particularly interesting news because it's like another kind of step in the... Michael says he dislikes the format of Discord. It can get sloppy to follow around. No, I understand that. Sometimes it can be, but it's a kind of a different purpose. There are also places for pinned messages to have those static things, but there is sometimes repeated messages. There's also a search function in Discord also that a lot of people aren't familiar with, that you can search for messages. Like if you're curious if somebody has asked about what should I get first for the Armada Clone Wars or whatever, you can always search for that and you'll find a lot of those discussions. But I do kind of like the old message board format where you just make a topic, people reply to that. But Discord is always improving. You can now reply directly to people's comments and stuff like that as well. So Discord's getting better and better all the time. However, I definitely see some of the people who prefer forums over Discord. But this is really interesting because FFG has been kind of shrinking little by little over the past couple of years. I have a feeling before maybe within a year, we'll probably see the end of FFG become a thing. What are forums? Forums, message boards, basically or bulletin boards, the community forums. Basically, it's just a place for you to post messages and for people to reply to your messages on the internet. It's one of the oldest methods of communication on the web are forums or message boards or bulletin boards. It's kind of one of the original ways to communicate online. So FFG shutting down their message boards is just the next thing that is going away. Now, it could be that maybe they just realized, like what the message says basically is they realize that not enough people really use them. I mean, I disagree with that. I think a lot of people use them. What will happen to Twilight Imperium if FFG goes? Well, that'll go to a different studio. Asmodee has a whole bunch of other gaming studios. So what I would expect is for everything that FFG has to go to a specific, more specialized studio before they shut FFG down. I believe that their card games will all go to one particular studio. Like there'll be some, whoever is the best, studio that they have to handle all their LCGs and card game production and stuff like that will probably take that over. Still staying under Asmodee. So maybe like Z-Man Games or something like that, right? Maybe, and Twilight Imperium and maybe the Descent games will go somewhere else. That's what I think. Granted, maybe they'll stay with FFG. I don't know. Twilight Imperium is hugely successful, and it's one of the greatest board games of all time. So I don't think that will just disappear. But FFG also has like the Lord of the Rings license too, and I wonder how long is left on that current licensing agreement. So yeah. So they have a lot of other video game or board games rather, not video games. Well, they do have some of the digital stuff with the Lord of the Rings Online, but like it's just they've been dismantling. Like Asmodee has been dismantling FFG as a company constantly since they bought them. After the first year, as soon as Christian Peterson left, Asmodee's been dismantling FFG, and through a lot of little ways that kind of make sense. But if you back up and you looking, if you back up and you look at the bigger picture and you look at what's been going on. I'll tell you what I see. I see the sleeves going away and being replaced with Game Genic. Different company, a lot of the same product. A few new things too, which on its own makes sense. But then you see that the RPGs going away to a new studio. And then you see the Star Wars games going to a new studio. Now like the biggest, now all the best, I should say the Star Wars miniatures games going away to a new studio. Now the forums, the message boards going away. A lot of those things that made FFG, like how long before fantasyflightgames.com is gone, and it's just rolled up into Asmodee. Like the website itself will be the next thing to go. And I really looked forward to all those articles with all of that stuff. Let's see, I missed some of the rumors are FFG is being scuttled and that Christian Peterson is going to purchase a vastly scaled back company from Asmodee. Maybe he will. Maybe Christian Peterson wants to buy Fantasy Flight Games back. Maybe he's at that point, and they want to destroy it before they sell it back to him. Who knows? That's an interesting rumor. I don't know. If that happens, I am going to throw my full support behind the new Christian Peterson-based FFG games because, let's be honest, Christian Peterson created many of my absolute favorite games. Right? Like he was. He may have not have been like one of the expansion developers and stuff for a lot of these games, but like Twilight Imperium was his baby. Rebellion, Armada. He worked on all of these, right? So yeah, like if Christian and I've already been in touch with Christian Peterson's new company. Granted, I don't have any information or anything like that, but I've already reached out to them saying, look, whatever you do, you can count on my support. So Christian, if you're watching, you can count on my support. I got the sun coming in through here, so I've got like half. I got the duality of the light side and the dark side on my face right now. But yeah, so FFG kind of cutting back their forums might not seem like that much of a big deal, but that's a big way for the community to interact. I wonder how many people out there use those forums and that's their only way of like interacting. I used to use those forums heavily, very heavily. I used to use those forums. They were my lifeblood for communication with the community and for FFG in general. And now, that's going away. And we've got all these, the problem was you always knew you could go to the source to get to, the official message boards. And going with like third-party message boards, it's you're not going to reach as many people. So I feel like now they've taken where everybody could have gone, and then now that's being like broken up into like, hey, I've got everybody's ear here, but instead of that, we're going to let like 10 different communities each have a 1/10 of the community. And now information dissemination is going to be a lot harder to get a hold of. So anybody at FFG, if you're hearing this, I invite you. You are more than welcome to become a part of my Discord. Message me if you would like. I can set you up with like an official or Asmodee or Atomic Mass Games or whatever. I'll set you up with a special role or something like that, so you can have a special color or whatever. If you're interested in that, you are absolutely invited. You're more than welcome. But I know like that's something that they've done in the past. A lot of the games specifically have their own Discords, but I don't think there's many Discord servers out there that cover all of the games. And that's one of the things that mine does. That's what I'm hoping that my Discord can help fill the void that's left when the shutdown for any of the for the official message board happens. When all of that happens and we find ourselves like without the app, without any official forums, hopefully Discord will help. There's a lot of other ways too. Like there's Facebook groups, there's people talking on Twitter, there's Instagrams, there's and all of that, but I feel like there's not one big unifying, like a single unifying place. There's Reddit, like there's so many people are scattered. So many people that are on Reddit don't use this one, and so many people are here that don't use that one. And it's like, if you want to I feel like they're shooting themselves in the foot from a certain point of view, because now it's like, if they want to put information out, now they've got to go to 12 different sites, for one game. Like, hey, we've got a major X-Wing announcement. We can't put it out on our forums anymore, so we'll just put it out on Reddit, and then the X-Wing, this X-Wing Discord, and that X-Wing Discord, and this X-Wing community Discord, and like this one, maybe Gold Squadron's Discord, and then now maybe Crabbok's Discord. And like, granted, I mean, they're probably not going to do all of that, but like, I feel like that's kind of the path ahead that this invites, and I feel like that's a lot of work. I just wonder how expensive is it really to maintain a message board or a forum? I used to have one on my website. I used to have my own message boards, and it cost me nothing. I had one. I did it all by myself amongst all the other crap that I do. So I don't. Now I understand that the X-Wing app and the squad, updater and stuff, like when you have to make updates and patches to things like that, I get that it's that's why we have you, Crabbok, right? Absolutely. But do you have any idea when FFG will be shutting down? If they do, maybe another year. There's still a couple of big things that they have to move over. Keyforge is a big one for them right now. That and the other LCGs would have to move over to a new studio. Twilight Imperium and Descent would have to move over to a new studio, and then all of the other smaller games that they still kind of have would have to move over to another studio. So I feel like all of that stuff still needs to move around. However, they got the biggest when moving X-Wing, Armada, and Legion were by far the biggest move, and since that is they picked a perfect time to do that. I talked about a little bit of that in my Mando chat video last night. Sorry, what happened in the last 11 minutes? Rewind and rewatch it. FFG is shutting down their forums at the end of January. So as of February 1st, the FFG forums, community forums, will not exist anymore. So, you're basically, if you haven't already, join my Discord. Hop in there. I don't do at everybody's a lot. I'm not going to spam your inbox with tags. It is very, very, very rare at everybody messages. Like we put one up yesterday, and that was the first one in like 2 years. Right. So we're not gonna hound you with information, but it's a good place to come chat. We've got lots of room. We've got a lot of we got X-Wing chats. We've got Armada chats. We got Legion chats, and we're open to expanding them a little bit too. Like we may kind of expand them into like sub channels for like list building and other things like that. So will Atomic extend their Star Wars miniatures games? But not for a while. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with FFG that they're going to like continue to finish and push out. Like all of the stuff that still hasn't been announced, that is kind of announced, like those X-Wing Aces packs that are still coming, like the Sky Strike Academy and all that stuff. All that stuff is still on the distributor website. So like there's product that's in the pipe that's still going to get fulfilled. I feel like it's probably going to be the end of next year before we start getting announcements from Atomic Mass Games. Atomic Mass Games just put out an announcement today that they're hiring artists and game developers. And I'm like, it's kind of interesting how, all these game developers were just let go, and now you're hiring new game developers. That kind of paints a picture that, they were trying to lowball their veteran game developers. So that's, granted, that's just my inference based on what we know and what they've published. Do you think Games Workshop takes their chance to start a Star Wars miniatures games monopoly? Well, Games Workshop wouldn't be able to do a monopoly on it, because Games Workshop doesn't have the license at all. It would have to be a shared license, which I think is a good idea. I would love to see a shared license kind of go out. I'm tired of exclusive licenses, and even as somebody who would then possibly get overwhelmed by Star Wars games, I'm still willing to try it out. I would love for like Games Workshop to also get a Star Wars license, and for Privateer Press to get a Star Wars license, and all these companies to get, for maybe CMON to get a Star Wars license, make a Star Wars, then we'd have Star Wars Kickstarters, and that would be great. Maybe they wouldn't be able to do Kickstarter for that. I wonder how all that licensing would work. But I want them, Marvel does that. Marvel opens up their license to everybody. Like, you want to make a Marvel game? No problem. Oh God, please keep GW away from Star Wars. Well, honestly, you can just ignore it. If the license is open, then that would be just additional. I wouldn't want GW to have an exclusive Star Wars license. I would want that Star Wars license to be wide open, because then Atomic Mass Games would have these 3 games that are already proven and successful, and they're still going to have a growing community, but there may be more games. And that sounds fun. Plus for me, that's like a whole lot of news. That could be overwhelming. I may have to say, all right, I'm drawing the line here. I'm not at 14 Star Wars miniatures games is the most I can cover. So we maybe will Armada stay around for a while? Yeah, maybe. I think so. I think so. You joined late. When will this happen? So FFG just announced this today. I put a link in the description below. You can read the thing when you're done here, but check the video description, as well as join my Discord. Is FFG canceling Armada? No. FFG isn't going to be making Armada anymore, but it's going to move over to Atomic Mass Games, which has had a lot of community reach out. I've reached out to them. I've talked to so many other content creators and community members who've reached out to Atomic Mass Games, not just for Armada, but also for Legion. And I know the X-Wing guys are doing the same thing. So they know that there's a huge community ready to support them, to be playtesters, to give them advice, to relay information, to be content creators, all of this stuff. We've got AMG's back with this. We're totally going to continue. So yeah, Atomic Mass Games has taken over those games. But the forums that FFG has are coming down. Not just for the Star Wars games, but for all of their games. They're coming down at the end of January. And I've long said that I think it was going to be the end of 2021 before we start seeing regular updates from Atomic Mass Games, but it actually might be closer to like February or like even early spring. If FFG's taken down their forums, they're not going to have the channels to communicate with us as widely. They'll still have a Facebook presence and a Twitter presence and things like that. But I think having your message boards was a great way that you could just drop some information. FFG is closing down. I think that's a very distinct possibility. As long as they don't mess up my Legion and allow me to get Armada when I can. Yeah, no, I think Legion, X-Wing, and Armada are safe. Now there's obviously going to be some changes. They're going through new stuff. Legion, Armada, X-Wing, moving over to a new studio. Obviously, that's going to involve some serious changes. And we know Luke Eddy, I think, is the only developer that's actually moving over, or at least well-known developer. There's a lot of other people that are moving over as well. But there are people from various different parts in the production chain. I know there's, some supervisors and, like executive producers and things like that. But if you're looking at the people who actually work on the expansions and the card balancing and stuff like that, Luke Eddy is the one that's still moving over, and he's done a phenomenal job with Legion. And so I'm really excited to for Legion's future, because they're keeping at least one of the people that had the vision on the team. It's a shame that we're not getting Alex Davey, but they're hiring new people. So you know what? It's kind of, imagine, and it sucks for those people. Imagine, you putting all this work into a project and then being told like, hey, we're firing you, but you can reapply for your existing job, but it's only going to pay half the salary now, right? Imagine that happening. That would be, what about the rumored Outer Rim expansion? I've heard that it was done and just hasn't been released, and probably on hold. Maybe that's going to move over to one of these other new studios. Sorry about the camera adjusting. I am in the car. But maybe that's one of the things that's going to change with the Outer Rim expansion. Like maybe that's going to finally be released with a new studio, I don't know. Like I think there's a very good reason we don't have an Outer Rim expansion already, because that game was crying out for one. I mean, I haven't played it since it first came out. I had play tested it before it was released. I was like a beta tester for it, which wasn't enough to get my name in the rule book, but I had always made their playtesting people know I was really, really looking for a multiplayer Star Wars game. And so I was overjoyed to get in on the ground floor in this thing, and well, not ground floor, but at least get to play test it a little bit. But even from playtesting, I'm like, man, this game really, it needs a few things. It's good, but it's not great, you know? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, guys. But long story short, if you're just joining late, the Atomic Mass game, or no, Fantasy Flight's shutting down their forums. But you can check my Discord and hopefully, join that community. It's going to have a lot of the same type of channels and stuff like that. Links are in the description below. I want to thank you guys, and happy holidays, and check out the latest videos. We got a new Armada Clone Wars battle report up today. Check it out if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much, and as always, have a great day.